Quinn with time. Uncorks it. Ashton Hawkins shakes and scores.
This is the Sikkim 365 radio postgame show.
Second and long scenario. Pete drops back. Doesn't have much time. Garmin Randolph makes quick work of him.
Now here's David Smoak.
All right, here we go. I don't need to say this, but I'm 2-0 hosting the postgame show. Now, again, both games at home against teams. Baylor was favored to beat Tarleton State to open the year. And then tonight they have just polished out a much nicer and much better second half after what was kind of an ugly first half with Baylor leading 6-3. Thanks to kicker Isaiah Hankins with 46 and 51-yard field goals. The Bears had 3 fumbles in that game. Sawyer Robertson got the start tonight for Baylor at a very nice game. 18 of 24 passing, 248 yards. He also ran for a touchdown. And also the freshman from Franklin High School, Bryson Washington. Keenan Hall told me this like 2 or 3 months ago, that he felt like Bryson Washington would pop loose. Tonight, Washington had 12 carries, 106 yards, and also a 19-yard touchdown. And we also fumbled once when he had a nice little play out of the backfield on a catch on a little fling out of the backfield from Sawyer Robertson. Bears go to 2-1. They beat Air Force. Final score 31-3, and they moved their record again to 2-1 on the year. If you want to get on the show, if you want to get in, it's not like there's a phone number, but in the chat room or on the screen, 365 Sports YouTube, you can see where Garrett has said, get yourself in queue. Whoever you are, we would like to hear from you, your reactions, your questions, and your comments. We'll also hear from senior Campbell Barrington, the offensive lineman, at some point today, too. Garrett?
Yeah, so we have a couple of people that are waiting right now. Let's go with Medoso first. Medoso, you are on with Smokey.
Medoso, go ahead. Thanks for your time. What's on your mind tonight? All right, we're going to...
Yes, they dropped. Let's go to A.
Hey, good afternoon or evening. It is Baylor winning 31-3 with a big second half. What's on your mind?
Unmute your mic, A.
All right, let's do the fundamentals. This happens, and it's fine. When you get yourself in queue, Garrett will cue you. And then, Garrett, what do they need to do?
Make sure your devices are connected. If you have your earbuds in, make sure your earbuds are connected. If you're just on your cell phone, make sure your cell phone is connected. Right now, we have Hayden. It looks like Hayden's ready.
All right, Hayden, thanks for your time. And you start us off, hopefully, here on the postgame show. Baylor wins easily. In the second half, they dominate 31-3. Hayden, go ahead. I hear you, Hayden. Go ahead. Go ahead, Hayden.
You got something to say, Hayden? All right, Hayden's getting dropped.
He's there.
Let's go with Burrs.
Burrs, thanks for your time. Let's see if we can break this 0-for-3 drought. Burrs, good afternoon or evening.
Burrs dropped. Let's try Brian here.
Brian, you're next. Brian, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Man, that was a tale of two halves, but so great to see the team just have, offensive life. And the defense was great again, but the offense was just what we've been expecting all year. So very excited. Gives me hope.
Did you like what you saw from Sawyer Robertson in the start with Finn being injured?
I did. Even the first half, I thought he made really good throws, even though we didn't score touchdowns. I just saw he was very decisive and made some really nice throws. Thanks
for your time, man. Great to have you on the show, Hayden. And again, get in queue. We'll get you on the show. We will hear from Campbell Barrington, the senior offensive lineman, at some point. We'll also go over scores. Georgia has just taken the lead in the fourth quarter on Kentucky, and we'll also give you some other scores going on right now. Garrett, let me know if anyone else gets in the queue. All right, Sawyer Robertson, 18 of 24, 248 yards, also scored on a touchdown run. I mentioned that Bryson Washington went over 100 yards rushing. Here's a key stat. Air Force actually, in a way, dominated the first half based on time of possession and running plays. And they converted. There was always like 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2. They converted on a 4th down or 2, and they just really dominated time of possession. But again, 6-3 as Hankins hit the field goal at the end of the half after the Air Force turnover. Baylor had 3 fumbles. 3 turnovers in the first half. It was 6-3, and they come out and they dominate the second half. They end up, Baylor, with 478 yards of offense. And you wonder, based on Air Force, with all it was one time they had like 35 plays to Baylor's 13 or 14. And if you wonder if that would have maybe come back to hurt Baylor in the second half, but it was Baylor who just crushed them with the time of possession, yards, and much more, plus the scoreboard. They outscored Air Force 25-0 in the second half. 478 yards of total offense, 218 for Air Force. And I think they might have had less than 100 yards of offense in the second half. Baylor also had an interception in that game tonight against the Falcons. So a nice, I don't know what was said. Obviously, not enough was said in the pregame. Whatever was said at halftime, the adjustments they made at halftime, a dominant second half for the Bears to win by a final score of 31-3. Garrett, let's go to the Big 12 scoreboard as of what's going on at this particular time. He has a graphic of the games going on right now. And in the Big 12 at this particular time, let me get to my screen so I could also compare them to what you have. And here we go. So going on right now, Colorado is separated from Colorado State. Remember, that was the game that was well past midnight last year, and Colorado State had the lead and the ball near midfield. They punted, and then Shador and company went like 97 yards to tie it. Game in overtime, and Colorado won it in overtime. They're dominating now, 28-9. Sanders, 301 yards passing, 4 scores, and Colorado State has also turned it over a few times. Hunter has an interception. Travis Hunter also 90 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. TCU looked like they had kind of just taken care of UCF, but here come the Knights. 4:25 to go. TCU 34 and UCF 28. Josh Hoover has nearly 400 yards passing in this game and 4 touchdowns. R.J. Harvey, 172 yards rushing and a couple of scores right now for UCF. So this one is not over. And in fact, TCU has the ball at their 14-yard line with 4:25 to go. Houston's going to get a win. 26-0 against their crosstown rival, Rice, 26-0. And they had a 75-yard punt return in this game. BYU in Laramie leading Wyoming 17-7 at half. Now, here are the finals from earlier today. We are 365 Sports. If you want to give a comment, a reaction, a thought, or a question, get in queue. But when you do, make sure you have your phone ready. Real quickly, Utah beat Utah State. It wasn't easy, but they did. Oklahoma State, Alan Bowman, 5 touchdowns, hammered Tulsa. Cincinnati with a win against Miami of Ohio. Nice night, the running back Kiner with 126 yards. Texas Tech took out some frustration, 66-21. Baron Morton, 4 touchdown passes. Taj Brooks is back, 109 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And a bad loss for West Virginia. Led 34-24 with like 5 minutes left and gave up 2 long 75-yard drives that took just over a minute. And Pittsburgh wins the game 38-34. Garrett?
Yeah, so we have Baylor Dad 79. Baylor Dad 79. Turn your mic on, and you are on with Smokey.
Baylor Dad 79. Go ahead. We got to get this system down. I know you get in queue. And we're gonna be patient with you. We want to hear from you. So when you get in queue, make sure your device, whether it's AirPods or however you have that your microphone, your phone is ready to talk, and we'd love to get to you. So let's try to do that again with Baylor Dad. Baylor Dad, are you there? He is not.
Nope.
Okay. Also, of course, the games in the Big 12 on Thursday night, Arizona State rallied to beat the Bobcats and G.J. Kinney 31-28. And then Kansas State and beat Arizona, and KU lost to unbeaten UNLV 23-20. Garrett?
All right, Rick, we're coming to you right now. You're on with Smokey.
Thank you. I would just like to ask if Aranda wants to keep his job after the end of this year, don't you think his hand was forced tonight and he's going to have to stick with Sawyer Robertson?
It's a great question. I don't know the specific injury of DeQuan Finn. I know Darby Brown had a picture with Finn and his arm was in a sling. His right arm was in a sling. There had been some murmurs about the possibility of an injury. I don't know this specific injury. I'm not in the post game. Craig is there for us. Levi is there for us, and maybe we can get that information. But after tonight, even if DeQuan Finn could play next week in Colorado, you have to stay with Sawyer Robertson. That's my opinion. And as far as keeping his job, there were even thoughts that he better do something. And Baylor, and when it was 6-3 and a very, very, golly, it was just a sluggish first half. You wonder, Sawyer still threw the ball pretty well, as we had a call earlier. Hayden said that. But I do think you now run with the hot name or the hot quarterback. That doesn't mean DeQuan Finn's not going to be needed down the stretch. I don't know what his health is. It's out when you got an arm in a sling. That usually is something that's not going to be a short-term injury. I'm not sure if it's a bruised shoulder. Is it an AC joint? We'll wait to see what Dave Aranda says to everybody in the post-game locker room. But a very good point. I agree with you. I will be surprised if they move on after Sawyer has the game that he had. He wasn't perfect, but he was very smart with the football. He really has a great connection with Josh Cameron, Ashton Hawkins. Although, again, they got to be careful, protect the football. And then the tight end, Triggs, also is someone that he's been able to get. Hey, by the way, they had a running game. A running game protects the quarterback and gives him time. Thanks for the call. Garrett?
We have Riley. Riley, you are on with Smokey right now. Riley, go ahead.
Riley, go. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
About time we see Sawyer. Great game from him. No surprise for a Seth Park quarterback. Sick and Bears.
Thank you, Riley. Appreciate the call. I know that the most popular quarterback when a team loses is the backup quarterback. Some of those backup quarterbacks played for teams today in college football. For example, A&M went with Marcel Reed, the very talented freshman, and he was good for them. But also Wigman was hurt. He has an HC joint injury and couldn't play. So now Marcel Reed is the favorite. It might have been anyway. I don't know what Mike Elko was thinking, but now Marcel Reed. And then what happens is now you are the starter. Sawyer's the starter. Now it's up to him. Keep the job. Go win some games. Go to Boulder next Saturday night against Colorado in a game you're going to have to score some points because no matter what happened to them in Lincoln, they can put up the points and they can put up a lot of yards too. Garrett, anybody else? All right, get in queue if you want, and we will get to your comment, question, reaction, whatever it might be. I'm also going to check my Twitter timeline to see if anybody has anything at all. Garrett?
All right, BU just jumped into the room. BU, you are on with Smokey right now. Go ahead, BU.
BU, go ahead.
All right, BU drop.
All right. I don't understand the drop part of it. It may be a connection or two. We are awaiting Campbell Barrington, Baylor offensive lineman, as they eventually, with nearly 500 yards. How much of that was a breath of fresh air? We were in the elevator with Troy Gerhardt, who's the media relations for football for Air Force, who set us up to talk to Troy Calhoun, their head coach, earlier this week. And someone correct me if I'm wrong. Based on where they were at halftime, 6-3, Baylor got the long field goal from Hankins, and boy, did that was necessary. But I thought Air Force had Baylor right where they wanted them, plus again had dominated time of possession. So if they could get the ball and have another drive early in the third quarter, maybe it's Baylor that runs out of gas, even though they have pretty good depth. But Baylor just absolutely, Air Force had no chance in that second half as the Bears run up big yardage and win the game 31-3. Let's see here. I got a couple of other stats on this. So Hankins hit field goals of 46, 51, and 24. I also liked what I saw. The defense got after Air. Now, early on, Air Force likes to win the down and distance. Who doesn't, right? Everybody does. But when Air Force has you and they're 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, and they went for it on 4th, as I mentioned, I know once or twice. With that offense, it's like pigs in slop, except there's no slop because it's field turf. But with that offense, Air Force had the down, the distance, the clock, and so much more. I thought there was a key possession where Air Force down 3-0. They missed a field goal too in the first half, down 3-0. If they would have stuck a touchdown in there when they were down 3-0 instead of settling for a field goal, that would have been pretty interesting. The 3 turnovers, you have to protect the ball. It just, like, for example, I know I saw some chatter on the Twitter timeline. You got to remember, we're in the stadium. I don't have a television in front of me. I'm not watching it on my laptop. I'm not in my living room where I can see like 3 or 4 different angles of whatever network is carrying the game. I can't do that. So there are some calls or moments in the game when some of you want to tell me about a replay or something that was said and the hit on Bryson Washington, and why didn't Aranda throw the flag? And Bryson Washington, I like the fact that he went for the contact. He picked up, 20, 25 yards on that play at the end of the half. I like the fact that he went for contact and ran. He and the defensive back, it was a hell of a collision. Get out of bounds. There was just over a minute to go in the first half. I know you want to, I get it. It's that testosterone in you, that alpha in you, that male dog in you, right? Get out of bounds. He didn't. The collision was fierce, fumbled the ball. Air Force recovered, and that ended another possibility for a drive for Baylor in that first half. Eventually, Air Force drove to near midfield. Baylor got the ball back. A throw. Who was it? Was it Triggs who got a pass over the middle?
Yeah, it was Triggs.
Triggs, and he got hit. Great hit by the Air Force defensive back who forced and dislodged the ball. Air Force recovered. Baylor turned around and got it back, and again ended up with that field goal from Hankins at the end of the first half. And Isaiah Hankins has that in him. There are times, though, when kickers, man, they get a little sideways. Hankins tonight, 46, 51, and 24 yards is very impressive, in my opinion. It's what they did. Colorado now leading still 28-9 on Colorado State. Now just under 4 minutes left. UCF and TCU, 1:16 to go in the game in Fort Worth. UCF, 1:16 to go in the game. And I cannot tell who has the ball because my data just went unavailable in that game with TCU. And TCU, I thought, was going to end up winning that game like 34-17 or something like that. So the Knights should try to come back in that particular game. Let's check in on Georgia. Wow. 13-12, Georgia trails 6-3 at Kentucky at halftime. 13-12, Georgia. Kentucky has the ball at their own 20, and there's 5 minutes and 43 seconds to go in that game. And Kentucky with the ball at home, but they're losing at this particular time 13-12. Garrett?
We have Campbell Barrington.
Campbell Barrington, senior offensive lineman for Baylor. They win. They beat Air Force 31-3. Campbell, thank you very much for your time. What was the difference in the second half when you guys completely dominated everything, it seems like, at every phase?
Yeah, that you look at that first half, it was just a lot of self-inflicted stuff. I don't know. We just rallied together. We had to start putting stuff together and everybody doing their 111th, and it just finally clicked, and that's the game we played.
What does Bryson Washington, with all due respect to Richard Reese and Dawson Pendergrass and everyone else, he gave you guys a little something in the offensive, in the run attack. What is it about Bryson Washington that gave you a spark in the running game tonight?
Yeah, our running back room, man, that room's stacked with studs, and all of them just bring different things to the table. B-Wash, he'll go downhill running that ball. And he's not afraid to hit nobody. So I think he just brought a little more edge with him, having him out the past 2 games because of injury, but finally having him being able to keep that edge for the offense was key.
I thought Campbell at halftime with the game 6-3 and Hankins. How about Isaiah with a couple of long field goals that was huge? And you guys, you mentioned you kind of hurt yourself. You had the 3 turnovers. I thought based on the way the game went in the first half, because Air Force dominated the number of plays and time of possession, yet you still led 6-3. Do you feel like that was kind of for them kind of a downer? Or I thought if they would have gotten the ball back in the third quarter and had another long 65-yard drive, then maybe you guys are the ones behind the clock and also get tired. How huge was it to come out and make the statement early in the third quarter?
Yeah, no, it was huge for sure. I think that changed the game completely. So being able to come out and start that like that, I mean, that flipped the game upside down.
Campbell, what was it like to be able to, as an offensive lineman, start to enforce your will on them and the academy, the military kids? We know they're unbelievably tough young men. They fight for our country, but you started to kind of get them, grind them in the turf in the second half.
Yeah, no, we knew they were gonna. That's how Air Force is, right? They're gonna keep grinding and pounding, and we knew what we were going to get ourselves into, and we just had to push even farther than what we had before. What
was it like last week in practice after the disappointing loss up in Salt Lake City to Utah?
We had a good check-in with ourselves, watching film and everything. But I mean, it didn't change our mentality. We know we're a good team. We know we're going to do stuff that this team hasn't done before. So, I mean, we were just trying to lock in and focus on knocking this game out.
I asked you about what it was like in the second half to impose your will on Air Force. Was there anything at all said at halftime?
Not necessarily. No, we just came together. I mean, we were slowing things down. We were trying to correct. Trying to not hurt ourselves in whatever aspect of the game. And when we finally all came together and we're moving the ball, we're playing great football. So.
What was the feeling when Sawyer Robertson was the one who was going to start the game? I know Daquan had a sling on his right shoulder. It was in a sling tonight. When did you guys know Sawyer was going to get the start, by the way?
Yeah, we found out, in the week. I mean, so we were getting comfortable with Sawyer during the week. So it was, I mean, it wasn't like necessarily a game-changing event, you know what I'm saying?
So you had a few days. It wasn't like, for example, this was overnight. This was not today. You've known this for 2 or 3 days during practice?
Yes, sir.
What was it, the feeling to make sure of course, Daquan started the first couple of games. Last week was difficult. What was it like to make sure, because Sawyer, he was on this team a year ago. He's been around. What was it like to give him that chance to lead you guys to a win?
Yeah, they're both studs. And so, I mean, either one of them that's going to be in the backfield, we're going to do our best to protect them. And we have all confidence in them and throwing the ball and making his reads and guiding us to a win.
All right. You have the win. Just as a player, fans look at wins and losses. They can react any way they want. Sometimes fans or even media, you look 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road. You get the win. You clear the win. You get a chance to enjoy it tonight and maybe a little bit tomorrow. And then on the way to Colorado, one of the new members of the Big 12. What will that be like, and how important is it for this team to win a game on the road?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited. We're fired up for it for sure. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're going to go out there and do what we can and play our best football, come together. And I mean, a win on the road would be huge, especially in Colorado. So we're excited for that.
Campbell, what's it like when you start to dominate? Is there a lot of talk amongst the offensive line? There's no huddles anymore, basically. Everything's in the spread. You look to the sideline. Everyone's got their keys, their reads, etc. Is there much talk yet, much amongst yourselves, or are you guys pretty much a quiet group during the game?
No, yeah, there's some talk, but I mean, we mesh really well together as a whole unit, and so a lot of the times we just know, I mean, what our read should be and what combo blocks we should be working. So we all mesh really well together.
Last year was tough, and I know you're tired of hearing about it because now you're 2-1. 3-9 doesn't matter anymore. Can you take us through moments during the offseason that now you start to see the fruits of your labor this year?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I mean, every workout during the summer, all the walkthroughs, all the run-throughs, everything we did over the summer. I mean, it's just cool to see it all clicking for different guys. Different dudes showing up offensively and defensively. It's super cool.
What particular workout was the one you hated the most during the offseason?
I mean, they're all pretty rough, not gonna lie. I don't know. I mean, probably our conditioning test that'll for sure take it out of you, and doing 23 110s and then going to a heavy back squat right after. I mean, that'll be a good day for you, but the workouts down here are pretty good.
Campbell, thank you for your time. Congratulations on the win, 31-3. Have a great week of practice, and good luck in Colorado against the Buffaloes in Boulder.
Appreciate it. Go
Thank
Bears.
you. Campbell Barrington with us on 365 Sports as Baylor beats Air Force by a score of 31-3. If you want to get in the queue, we'll kind of extend this. If you get in the queue now with a question, a comment, a reaction, or something you'd like to say about 31-3 Baylor, do it now. And we'll try to maybe tread water here for about a minute. Otherwise, we will head to the gates. Here's one on my Twitter feed. Smokey, and this is from earlier, the call. Can they change quarterbacks this week? No. Garrett?
I don't think you can. I mean, I think I see how people would want to, but at the same time,
No. I'm talking about you can't change from Sawyer this week against Colorado.
Oh, no. Sawyer's got to
yeah.
be the guy. You got to ride with Sawyer at this point,
Yeah.
especially after the way he came out and played tonight. You saw his efficiency, and he had a better chemistry in the passing attack than what we've seen with DeQuan Finn. So, yeah, I think at this point in time, and obviously we still don't know DeQuan's status and if he's even going to be healthy for next week. Hopefully he is, but I don't think you can switch it up. I think you got to ride with Sawyer right now.
No, I think there's no question. And we don't even know if DeQuan's available anytime soon. I was trying to get a hold of somebody in the post-game interview, but I could not get what maybe Dave Aranda said, and I'm not able to watch everybody else's Twitter timeline. How about this? UCF, KJ Jefferson just threw a 20-yard touchdown with 42 seconds to go in the game, and they now lead TCU 35-34.
Wow.
It was 28-7 early in the third quarter. TCU 28-7 in UCF behind Harvey in his running game. TCU's Lemmerman's got a bunch of free field goals in the second half, but it's now 35-34. KJ Jefferson hits a touchdown pass, and remember, he had a really bad start. Even though the running game for UCF has been really good, he's got 3 touchdown passes. Harvey now 180 yards for the Knights and 2 touchdowns. This would be a huge win for UCF if they can hold on, but they do score. And I think it's 36 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. We'll see what happens with TCU. Can they get into field goal range, because they've kicked already 3 field goals, all of them coming in the second half. All right, 31-3 Baylor. They play at 7 o'clock in Boulder next Saturday. They're 2-1 on the year. They're above 500. When you tread water, you can't let your head get below the water, right? Because you might start to drown a little bit. So Baylor's 2-1. The first half, there's murmurs. Oh, by the way, what a hell of a job by the fan base tonight. What a great job by Baylor tonight. The blackout was good, because it hasn't always worked that way, because there's always – it seems like sometimes there's this disconnect. At times there's a disconnect. Well done, in my opinion, from my perspective, across the board. I got to tell you, as a military brat for the longest time, the flyover, and I've been to Super Bowls, and I've been to, obviously, bowl games. I've seen flyovers. It's just got me. 9/11 was earlier this week. Air Force in town, the military academies. I can never say enough about those young men and women. And when they had that flyover with those 2 jets coming over the top of McLean Stadium after the national anthem, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. The blackout was great. Obviously, the Baylor line, the freshmen, great. The fans, great. Air Force was there. And I say a job that could have been 31-30 Air Force. Well done to me across the board today. Across the board with the anthracite jerseys, honoring those 2013 and 14 Big 12 championship teams, honoring the 1974 Southwest Conference team. I went into the Grant Taft suite, gave him a hug and his wife, Donnell. Love that family. And they had themselves one heck of a weekend to celebrate 50 years from that that Southwest Conference championship. Garrett?
All right, Kel Cherry, you are our final guest. Kel Cherry, you are on with Smokey right now. Go ahead.
Are you there?
Unmute yourself, Kel. I just saw you.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Okay. I don't know what we're going to do between now and the next time I do a post game. I do the post games when Baylor's in town. And then, of course, we still have post-game shows when they are on the road like they will be in Boulder next Saturday night. That'll be a late post-game, just like this one is. All right, thanks to all of our sponsors of the Baylor post-game show. Garrett, Ross, thank you very much. Thanks to Baylor, Campbell, Barrington for being available. I'm David Smoak. For the entire family of 365 Sports, enjoy the weekend. We'll be back Monday afternoon with our show 3 to 6. Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina will join me. And then Paul has triple option with Garrett at 1 until 2 right before that. So enjoy the weekend. Have a great night. Let me check in real quickly on Georgia and Kentucky. 13-12, Georgia with the ball at midfield with 2:19 to go, trying to hold on. Wonder how Quinn Ewers is doing, but Arch Manning, 4 touchdown passes and a long 67-yard run, and they blew out UTSA 56-7. Have a great night. Thank you, Garrett. This is 365 Sports.